So I wanted to talk to you about something unusual here. I wanted to talk to you about the lottery, and it's not the sort of thing you'd expect to see on this channel, for example. I mean, you can't make money at the lottery. There's no defined strategy that says, well, if you do this, you will make money. Now, on sports trading, that's definitely the case, and or many other forms of other things, that's the case. But the lottery is completely random, and there is very little that you can do to influence it. Or is there? If you want instant access to new videos as they're uploaded, then please click on the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to comment on the videos. And if you're interested in learning more about BetAngel, visit betangel.com today and download a free trial. So you may think it's unusual I'm talking about the lottery because it's a random event, and I can definitely confirm that it is a random event. You can't influence the outcome of a ball dropping at random from a random machine by random draw by random person on a random day. There's nothing you can do. You know, the fact it's appeared 5 times in the past doesn't mean that it will or will not appear on the next draw. There's nothing you can do to influence that. There's no runs. There's, you know, when they do lotteries, they make them as random as possible. And if you analyze all of the stats of the number of balls that have dropped and the number of draws and variants thereof and therein, it does conform to that process. It is random, and there's nothing you can do to overcome that. Well, actually there is. You just buy more tickets. That gives you more chance. But the chance of winning is so small, so tiny, that you've got no chance of winning anyway. So, you know, let's get that out of the way first. But there is a way of entering the lottery a bit more logically. So if you run a syndicate, or you do something a bit more different than nipping down the road and picking up a ticket and filling it in, if you do something a bit more logical and you have a bit more money to use, you can actually do sensible entries. You can do more logical entries. It doesn't increase your chance of winning. The only way of doing that is to buy more tickets. But what it will do is it will guarantee that you win a lot more money if you do actually win. So yeah, you know, it makes sense to do a more logical entry into the lottery. What am I talking about? What's he going on about? Well, I've been fascinated by combinations and the influence of people on combinations for a number of years. I did it first of all when the football pools came around, because I noticed that people tended to enter the same patterns on football pools than they did in terms of the chance of a draw occurring. So I tended to cluster and move my selections around on the football pools to avoid that. And you can do the same on the lottery. What I've actually done is I've reverse engineered all of the draws and the prizes so that I can actually work out which numbers people tend to select more often. And if you enter a ticket in the lottery and avoid those numbers, if you do win, and of course the chance of winning is the same as if you choose one set of numbers as another, then you will win an awful lot more. And I've got here proof of this, which I will put up on a graphic in a second. But the interesting thing is when you actually look at which numbers are written down, there is a way of reverse engineering it to figure out what, because I don't have access to the stats on what entry people are putting on these things. I have no idea. But you can reverse engineer it from all of the stats that are available. So I can tell, for example, that the most frequently ticked, crossed, filled in number on the lottery is, have a guess? It's number 7. So, you know, lucky number 7 is really interesting. People tend to choose that very frequently. You can see that in the stats. It's the hottest number that people pick. If you look down, this was a surprise to me because I had no concept of this. But if you look at the next most picked number, it is number 23. And when I saw that, I thought, well, that's an anomaly. Let me check my data. But it stood out like a sore thumb. I was thinking, 23? 23? I don't understand why 23 would be picked. And it turns out there's a whole cult around the number 23. I had no idea until I Googled it. But check it out. Have a look and see. But number 23 is written down very, very frequently. Third most frequently number written down, according to my stats, is number 17. Not sure why that is. There's probably some significance there, whatever. And then we've got number 12 and so on and so forth. But if you actually go down this list, the first thing that you noticed is that there are hot numbers and cold numbers. So the hot numbers are clustered. The draw at the moment, it's going to change soon, but the draw goes up to 49 numbers. But the hot numbers rather, are clustered between numbers 1 and 31. So obviously people are using birth dates, or dates, anniversaries, deaths, divorces, whatever, to select their numbers. You can see that all of the hot numbers are clustered in those rows. And then as you get beyond the number 31, people just generally don't select them. So, you know, the best bit of advice is to ignore all those numbers below 31, because if a cluster of numbers come in within that grouping, then you may win, but you may have to share your prize with a lot of people. And the interesting thing was that this did occur once very early on in one of the early lottery draws, where 133 people won the jackpot. So you can imagine all these people going, hey, I've won, fantastic, I wrote down the number 7 and all of these lucky numbers, but so did everybody else. So they didn't win any money. And that must have been a bit gutting, really. But of course, you know, it doesn't make any sense to do that, because you have to share your lottery win with other people. So you choose the numbers that are cold, the ones that people don't or are unlikely to choose, because all those cold numbers will be the ones that when they turn up, you will win all of the money, millions and millions of pounds, hopefully. So yeah, but if you look at cold numbers as well, of course, you know, what is the most common, or one of the most common cold numbers? Have a guess. You know, what number is always referred to as being unlucky? Yeah, it's number 13. People don't choose the number 13. So that's an exception to the rule of hot numbers, lower than 31. But the funny thing is, there is one hot number above 31 that occurs regularly, that people keep on picking time and time again. Can you have a guess at what that number is? A number above 31 but lower than 49 that is very hot, that people choose very regularly. Any ideas? The number is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. 42. So people are choosing 42 because of the Douglas Adams book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's remarkable, but you can see it within the stats. But the message that I give to you generally is to avoid all those numbers below 31. I'm going to bring up a graphic that shows you all of the numbers, their positions, and whether they're hot or not. And you can have a look at that. But basically, most of the cold numbers sit in that range further up from 31 onwards. And I've got several versions of this, which I will put onto the video. But basically, you can see fairly clearly that all of the cold numbers are in the 40s. So I suggest that you choose sort of, you know, 33, 37, 40, 43. I almost said 42, don't choose 42. 47, 48. And also, humans have this terrible tendency to not be able to replicate randomness. So randomness could be 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. But when humans see a sequence like that, they don't think it's random. So it's not ridiculous to think that you would actually choose a string of numbers above that level as well. That would probably work quite as well. There is a whole nother thing I can talk about, which is optimal covering combinations, but that's too extensive for this sort of video. So maybe if there is interest in what I've said on this particular video, and the charts that I've been posting up are of interest to you, I can talk to you about optimal covering combinations as well. Because it's a bit of maths. It doesn't improve your chance of winning, but it will give you maximize the entry that you're putting into there. So we'll basically maximize a set of numbers that you decide to choose. But anyway, I thought that may be of interest to you. These are some of the weird things I get up to. I analyze all sorts of things, hurricanes, or the hurricane season I try and predict every year, numbers. I just enjoy that sort of thing. So I thought I'd share this information with you about the lottery. If you're interested in learning more about BetAngel, visit betangel.com and download a free trial today.